3:10 on this Thursday afternoon. It's Gambo Ash, Sports 620 KTAR. It is the Alvin Gentry Show as the season comes to a close last night in downtown Phoenix. Suns get the victory over the San Antonio Spurs. Spurs move on to be the 1 seed. And the Suns, unfortunately, out of the play. Who would have thought that at the end of last season, after the Suns swept the Spurs, that they'd go back to being the 1 seed and the Suns wouldn't be in the postseason. But it is our pleasure now to have the head coach of your Phoenix Suns, Alvin Gentry, kind enough to come down and hang out with us for a couple segments in studio to kind of put the wraps on the season. Alvin, good to see you. Thanks for coming down.
Good to see you guys. You guys got a nice place here.
It's not bad, right?
Yeah. 4 big screen TVs, nice little studio.
Yeah, it works. The whirlpool and the masseuse. Oh, no, we actually don't have that.
Unbelievable.
We're working on that part of it. I say congratulations on the season because, look, you got through the season, you guys battled, you played hard. Unfortunately, not enough wins. And you can point back to a couple things. John and I were just talking with Jared Dudley not that long ago. And, he kind of made that point of the stretch where you guys were right there, you're in the 8th seed, and then all of a sudden Channing's shoulder goes out. Nash misses some games, and you guys kind of fall behind. And then it was playing catch-up from that point on, wasn't it?
It was playing catch-up. And to be honest with you, Memphis was playing so well at the time. And, New Orleans was, it just got David West injured, but they were playing well. And, Portland, as we know, was playing great. So to lose a few games here and there where you end up losing 3 out of 5 or something like that, just gets you right behind the 8 ball. We just weren't able to recover. And then on top of all of that, Houston played great during that stretch also.
Yeah, that Houston game, that was a big game, the one where Dudley missed the 3 at the end. Yeah. Against Houston. That was in the midst of I think a 4-game losing streak. That's when the guys were going down, and you didn't have Fry for the New Orleans game, you didn't have Nash for the Houston game, and you had some injuries that just kind of caught up with you. I said to Jared, I thought that after the trade, when I look back at the season in a nutshell, I think the trade worked out great. I mean, you've got a starting center going forward that's young, one of the better centers in the league. That's under a great contract. I'm excited about the future with March and Gortat at the center spot. But it did take a while for everybody to kind of get the chemistry going and the continuity, because you had a stretch there after the trade was over where it just wasn't working. I think you lost like 7 out of 8 games. And I think that was, if I look back, I say that's probably what cost the Phoenix Suns a chance to go to the playoffs. It just took a while for everybody to kind of mesh with each other after the trade was made.
Probably, that's a good point, I think, because, I think chemistry becomes so important on a basketball team, and as you know, we had great chemistry last year, and when we brought those guys in, and I think everybody tried to adjust and play exactly like we wanted them to play, but I just think it took a little time for the chemistry to come together. I agree totally with you on Gortat. There's a few of the elite centers when you talk about Bynum, and I call Gasol a center also, and Dwight Howard and guys like that. But that next tier of centers, Gortat is right there, and I think he'll continue to get better.
And as you say, continue to get better with Gortat. I mean, now that he's working with you, for most of the year, he's been, most of his career, he's been in Orlando working with their coaching staff. Now you've got your hands on him, and this offseason and stuff like that. Is there stuff you see from Gortat that you're like, okay, we need to work on that, and that could take him to maybe even another level?
Yeah, we talked about that today. I had a great meeting with him we met about an hour, really, and just talked about things. And the thing I like about him is just such a brutally honest guy. And I just said to him, if you want to move up to the next level, we're going to have to be able to throw you the ball in the post, and you're going to have to create double teams, or you're going to have to score for us there. And then you're going to have to be able to step out on the floor and shoot it consistently, not from the 3-point line, but from 20 feet and in. You've got to develop a consistent shot with that. You do those 2 things, and I think he's got a chance to be great. He's a tremendous defensive rebounder, and I think he can get better on the offensive boards. We talked about that also, but you're talking about a guy that this is the first year he's ever played in the league. This is the first year he's ever played extended minutes, and I think he'll continue to get better.
Is there any thought process that, okay, if he works on going away from the basket, that you take away from his ability to grab offensive rebounds? Does that hurt the team at all?
I think so. I think it has to be a little bit of a combination of both, but I want him to develop skills that if we're lucky enough somewhere to come along with a guy that's a big center that can play, then to be able to play him some as a power forward, I think would be a unbelievable luxury for us, and and give us size. So I want him to develop those skills, but you know, at the end of the day, we have to be able to throw to him in the post and have him score.
I think going forward, there's some great pieces going forward. There's no doubt that Jared Dudley and Gord Todd both had great seasons. And I think we've got to give a lot of credit to Channing Frye for just redeveloping his game, for becoming more of a guy that could score in the low post, a guy that can grab rebounds. I thought that Channing made marked improvements this year compared to last year.
Great point. I just think that he developed a situation where when they do try to now switch small guys on him, we've been able to throw the ball in the post to him. He's improved his rebounding. You know, he had a couple of 15 rebounding games this year, and I just think he'll continue to get better. You know, he's not an old guy. And you know, he's a young guy that's continued to improve. I like you said, we have some nice pieces. We just got to put some pieces around those guys so that we can continue to improve and get back to where we were last year.
Alvin Gentry, the head coach of the Phoenix Suns, joins us in studio here on Sports 620 KTAR. The Suns season ended last night with a victory, and like Alvin said after the game, 40-42 sounds a lot better than 39-43.
A lot better, okay, and especially when it comes at the end of beating the San Antonio Spurs, okay.
Yeah, and you know it is weird. I mean, you look at this season, and I think you knew obviously last offseason that you were maybe headed toward, I don't want to say turmoil, but change, and a lot of change. I asked Jared this 40 minutes ago. Do you feel better, worse going into this next offseason? I mean, last offseason you were in the Western Conference Finals. You were 2 games away from the NBA Finals, but knowing that there was a good chance you were going to lose Amari, do you feel better about this offseason, or does that still linger because of the Steve Nash stuff?
No, I don't. I feel good about it. I think, you know, the one thing that we talked about in the locker room last night collectively as a team is that we talked about, you know, we have to come back next year. Everyone has to be better. Guys have to improve on certain things, and I included the coaching staff in that too. You know, I don't think we're ever outside the box either. I've got to be a better coach in situations or late game or substitutions or whatever. And what we do is that I go back, and every year I go back, I look at every single game that we played over the summer, you know, where I try to pick out mistakes or things where I can get better in that situation also. We do that and add a few pieces. You know, I think we've got a chance. You know, obviously playing in the Western Conference is no walk in the park.
All right, so wait, you go back, you evaluate. Do you throw stuff out? Do you say, man, this inbound play does not work? This
I throw a lot of stuff out.
This play, this pick and roll at the buzzer, that one doesn't work. We're getting rid of that.
I throw a lot of stuff out.
Okay, all right.
So I throw a lot of stuff out.
Is there any one game you look back at and you know, an inbounds play or something at the end of the game you look back at and wish you could take back? I would say anytime Vince Carter had the ball at the end of the game, I could go with that. But sorry, I apologize, but I can go with that one.
But no, there's games, and I'm sure I'll find some games where I go, boy, I can't believe I ran this play. I can't believe I did this in this crucial situation. You know, there's some where I think we ran plays that we got exactly the shot that we want. So I don't really kind of look at those. I try to look at the ones where we need to make improvements in. You know.
We're visiting with Alvin Gentry, the head coach of the Phoenix Suns, here on Sports 620 KTAR. Alvin, we're going to take a real quick break, come back, take a look at the future a little bit more, what the offseason holds in store for the Phoenix Suns, and we'll break down and ask some of those tough questions about the future of this team. That is coming up. This is the Alvin Gentry Show, a little extended version here on Sports 620 KTAR.